This video is being prepared for the Attorney General State of Texas as a complaint against the City of Austin for violating the Open Records Act. You'll note that in the upper left-hand corner of my computer screen, this is a file that was sent to me, the 82276.nrn.pardresponse.fpdf. It is a secure document. I cannot print it. I cannot copy and paste it, but I want to walk you through what I received so you can compare what I ordered, what I asked to look at, as opposed to what was sent, and you'll see that the city said the work is complete when in fact it is not. Office of the Attorney General. This is page 1 of 25 that I received, and it starts off with the wrong PIR number. It says 8226, when in fact the number is 82276. But the information that they provided me is consistent with the proper number. The first thing they said was the responsive information is for the dates provided. The dates I provided were, the range of dates were from June the 1st of 2020 to October the 13th of 2020. You'll note the date that this document was created. This document was created on 10/26 of 2020 at 10:24.33 a.m. There is no author or anybody else in here. It is 25 pages in length, but I cannot print it, share it. It is a secured document. I provided you a copy of my request that I submitted to the City of Austin, and bullet point number 7 on my request asked for, I would like to inspect the conservation treatment plans for each of the headstones that was developed before treatment began. If you'll notice item bullet point number 2, for treatment plan request, this information is in process of being gathered and created. It does not yet exist. Requester should put in a request again in the future. And again, this document was generated just a few days ago. The work was already done back in September. And so I believe the response should have been they have no responsive information, instead of asking me to try again later because they're going to write up a treatment plan for work that was done last month. The last thing they provided me was an MSDS. Provided is for one possible chemical solution used. That going to reference back to my bullet point number 10, which I ask, I would like to inspect the label, a product name, and MSDS, which is a material safety data sheet, will do as well, for the amber solution, which looked like gasoline that was being used in an attempt to remove the paint from the unpolished areas of each headstone. So they did provide me an MSDS. However, it is for the UK. It is not the proper form for the United States. I think they know what country they're in, but I'll cover that in my paper presentation that I'm sending you. So these pages here are for bullet point number 9 from you, where I asked for communications with emails, and you can see that the director is in support of the cemetery manager. And then there's a string of emails here where there's a string of emails here where the director is communicating with the folks at City Hall. And I've already readdressed these with the folks at City Hall. And then we have a material safety data sheet for the United Kingdom, for the UK. This is the proper cleaner, but again, as we go back to page number 1, it is for one of the possible chemical solutions used. So they're acknowledging that they use multiple chemical solutions, but yet they've only provided me one. Here are the bullet points that I broke down for my open records request. I find it easier to do it in a Word document and then transfer it into the city's website. Unfortunately, this format doesn't stay, but all of the information was in the original submittal and shows up on their page as well. Because I was asking for 11 different points, I asked them to respond back with the proper numbers instead of just giving me a huge document and everything scrambled, which is typically what I get. I asked to inspect the following documents. I understand that redaction will be necessary on some documents. Please group the city's reply into subjects numbered as laid out below. Items 1 through 3 was for the HR, or Human Resources Department. Didn't receive any of that information. Items 4 through 11 was for the Parks Department. Items 1 through 3, I would like to inspect the employment application and all supporting documentation for Miss Isabella Dennis Knuckles, as she married since she was hired, that may prove her education and experience for the job. I would like to inspect all performance evaluations for Miss Knuckles over the last 2 years. I would like to inspect any documentation from the division manager of the cemeteries to the director of the Parks Department up to the office of the city manager, whereby Miss Knuckles was directed to establish a stone conservation program, or any document that asked her to perform that task within the cemetery division. Items 1 through 3 were never even addressed. Never heard back from the HR department. It does fall outside of the time frame referenced, but the time frame reference was for items 4 through 11. Obviously, if someone needs employment application is before that, they could have, and they have in the past, if they have questions, contacted me, but they failed to do so. Items number 4, I'd like to inspect all the documentation from the City of Austin for the legal owner on file at the cemetery office for the following monuments. Last and first name, these are the ones that were tagged at Evergreen Cemetery. It is the family's responsibility to make sure their information is up to date at the cemetery office. The cemetery office has information about these plot owners, or these plots, section, lot, and space at Evergreen Cemetery. I didn't receive any of this information. I'd like to inspect all communications between the City of Austin and the legal owners for the above lots, as to include the owners granting permission for the city to address the painted graffiti on these monuments. I didn't receive any of this information. I did receive, however, in a prior open records request on September the 25th, the City of Austin mailed certified letters out to several family members. I've got a copy of that postal receipt. You'll have it inside of your packet. If they mailed certified letters, then they should have provided me copies of these letters pursuant to item number 5 here. And they didn't provide me any copies of those letters. I also inspect the emails that the city might have received from outside monument companies or conservators who may have reached out to assist the city with proper removal of the paint of these headstones. I received no information on this topic. I would like to inspect the conservation treatment plan for each of the headstones that was developed before treatment. They address this in their first bullet point, saying that they're still writing it. Again, this is a month after the fact, so they did not have any documents during the time frames that I requested. I would like them to state that. If they don't have it, no responsive information. I would like to inspect the photos and notes associated with each treatment, as well as any reference material that the city conservator used to determine the proper course of action. Again, I received no documentation. I would like to inspect all emails between the following city employees. Number 9, I feel, was completed. I didn't see any emails from Isabella talking about the treatment plan, but Kimberly, Anthony, and Tanja, there were some emails there. If that's all they have, that's fine. They did send me an MSDS although it was for the United Kingdom. And so I'll let that one go. I would like to know what the other solvents were that they used on these stones, but they're being elusive on that. And number 11, the community was informed that the city has a conservator who would be overseeing the treatments. Items 1 through 3 talked about Miss Isabella Knuckles. She was not on site when I witnessed the the cemetery manager and the director of the division, Tanja Walls Davis, supervising 2 employees applying the unknown solvent. I'd like to inspect the training records whereby the employees were trained to perform the task, to include any training that Tanja Walls Davis has received to qualify her to supervise treatment operations. Again, I received no data there. I've done several open records requests for the city of Austin. In the past, if they don't have any responsive data, they write, we have no responsive data. But as you can see in my PIR, the response that they gave me, it was 25 pages, and they missed several of these bullet points. So, sir, madam, I would like you to contact the city of Austin and ask them to please release the rest of the data. I know they have letters they sent to families. You're going to see a United States Postal Service receipt for the certified letters that they sent out. They're withholding information. They're in violation of the Public Information Act. I'm sorry I have to waste more of the taxpayers' time and money, but would you please attend to this and hold the city of Austin accountable to the public? Thank you.